Hey friends, it's Betsy from the blog of flourishingplace.com, and in today's video I want to talk all about how to save money on groceries without using coupons. Like I mentioned, my name is Betsy. I have a wonderful husband and two little kiddos, a baby and a toddler, and it is busy around here. And if you haven't noticed, the cost of groceries has been going up along with the cost of lots of other things. And I've been working on getting pretty creative on how to save money in our grocery budget. Now, like I mentioned, I am a busy mom. I don't have a ton of time. I have so much admiration for people that coupon and do all of the deal matching and price matching and doubling the discounts and whatever cool stuff you can do when you coupon. I just don't have time for that in this season of life. And so I have been figuring out ways to save money on our grocery budget without using coupons. And so I have 9 tips that I'm going to give you for how you can save money on your grocery budget, but you're not going to be needing to spend time clipping coupons. Tip number 1 is to shop from a list. This one sounds really obvious, but it is so important. Often we're just in a rush. We don't feel like we have the time to sit down and plan out what we need from the grocery store, but then we end up wandering the aisles. We're grabbing stuff. Do we have one of those? Do we? No, I think we're out. And then you get home and you have 3 and it's like, oh man. And so it is so important to just take that time. And really at this point, it only takes me about 10 or 15 minutes max to go through what we need to stock up on at the grocery store. I hate making a grocery list. I just hate sitting down and taking the time. And so what I eventually did one day, get on my computer, make a grocery list of all of the things that we normally buy, kind of the staple items that we normally buy at the grocery store, with some additional blanks for, extra things. And that is what I print out. Every time I'm gonna go to the grocery store, I just print out that list and then I just tweak it how I need to tweak it, but basically everything's already written on there. I am super lazy. I did not want to spend the time to write out a grocery list every time, so that's what I ended up doing. Tip number 2 is to cook from scratch. There is definitely a place for pre-prepared foods. They have shown up at our house for sure, but if you're talking about saving money, it really is so much cheaper to cook from scratch. Now, this is coming from someone, I will tell you, who is not like a foodie gourmet cook. I don't make, complicated meals. I am a meat and potatoes and vegetables kind of cook. I need to get it done fast. And so when I talk about cooking from scratch, I am talking basic meals that have 5 ingredients, really simple. I use my crock pot a lot. I use my Instant Pot a lot because frankly, it's kind of hard. You moms that have young kids know that 4 to 5 o'clock hour standing over the stove is sometimes just not an option because everybody is in chaos, everybody's melting down. And so I use the Instant Pot and the crock pot a lot and get my dinner prep and my meal prep done earlier in the day. And then that dinner hour is not so stressful. Tip number 3 is to stop meal planning. Now this one is controversial because some people will argue that meal planning saves you money. And I think there are definitely some instances where it can. Rather than just flying by the seat of your pants, you're going by a meal plan. And that totally makes sense. But for us, I decided I would experiment. This was about a month and a half ago. I decided I would experiment with not doing a meal plan and just like I said, kind of working off of a pre-populated grocery list that had staple items, meats, produce, frozen items, dairy, stuff that we normally buy every single grocery shopping trip, and just go off of that and then make meals based on those staple ingredients that I always have on hand. I thought, I'm just gonna try this. And if I crash and burn, we'll go back to doing, tacos on Tuesday night and spaghetti on Thursday night. And, I'll go back to doing that. But it has been awesome. And we have saved money doing it this way. And the reason why is because I find that I am actually cooking from the pantry more. I'm actually seeing what's in the pantry. I'm saying, oh, how could this ingredient and this ingredient go together? And I'm getting more creative with our meals. Now, I will say there are some experimental meals that I have tried that have not gone so well. My husband could tell you. But we've had some real winners as well. So this has been a big money savings for us. When you grocery shop with a list and you have an array of ingredients on hand that your family eats, it is really pretty stress-free to put meals together quickly and to use up what you have in your pantry. When I was meal planning regularly, I would always end up with random ingredients in the pantry. We would have a particular meal that I needed sun-dried tomatoes or whatever, fill in the blank. And then I would use what I needed for the recipe, and then you would have the rest of it left in the jar, in the bag, whatever. sitting there languishing in your fridge or in the pantry, and it goes bad and then it's wasted. So I have found that doing this method with no meal planning, I'm not stuck with all of these random ingredients that are half used that I don't know what to do with. I'm fully using things, I know what I have on hand, and I'm making it work for us. Tip number 4 is to shop on a regular rotation. So the way we work it in our household, I do a big shopping trip every 2 weeks. And then we always have, a banana run, a milk run, those little things in there. But the bulk of our shopping happens every 2 weeks. And that's when I have the big pre-populated grocery list that I use, and we make sure that we're kind of covered with all of the major things. This really helps with impulse buying. If I'm doing the big shopping trip with a list, I'm definitely not as likely to impulse buy. But if I were to grocery shop often and just, per meal or, every time I feel like we need something, it's much more likely that there's impulse buy stuff that I would throw into the cart. That's just me. It helps keep me focused and keep me on track to do that every other week shopping rotation, and it ends up being cheaper for us in the long run. Tip number 5 is to shop at a store with lower prices. This sounds super obvious and you're like, well, of course. And yep, it is pretty obvious. But often when we're just kind of feeling in the chaos at the moment, we shop at the store that's closest to us. And sometimes that store, the prices aren't the greatest. It really does impact your grocery budget long term. If you were able to set aside a little bit of extra time to shop at a store that has good prices, it makes a major difference on your grocery budget. All those little pennies add up, especially right now as grocery prices are going up. You go to the store and something that you bought at this price before is now 50 cents more expensive, $1, $1.50 more expensive than it was before. And so it really does make a difference to shop at a store that has lower prices as a general rule. Tip number 6 is to use an app to find great loss leaders. And a loss leader is an item at a store where they put it out in the ad and they're basically selling it at a loss. There's not a profit for the grocery store, but they're selling it at that price to get you into the store to buy that item and then hopefully buy a bunch of other items, right? That's a loss leader. And so I have an app on my phone. I've talked about it a little bit before. It's called the Flip app, and this is not sponsored or anything. I just really like the app. It's FLIPP, the Flip app. And from that app, you can throw in your zip code and then you can download ads for the specific stores that you want. So I have ones that are specific for the stores in our area. Like it says in the title of this video, I do not coupon. However, I will glance through this app, and it takes me about 2 minutes when I'm putting our grocery list together just to see if there's any really good loss leaders at any of the stores where I can just swing through, grab that one thing or those two things, and head right back to my car. I'm not at a place where I can hunt for coupons, use manufacturer's coupons, clip store coupons, do all this kind of stuff, but I can take 2 minutes to glance through an ad and just see if there's anything worth grabbing for our family. Now, having said that about the loss leaders, you may be wondering, do you go to multiple stores? Are you one of those people that goes to 5 grocery stores to save a few pennies and you're rolling your eyes saying, who has time for that? Okay, I do go to multiple stores when I do our big shopping trip every other week, but there are only 3 stores typically that I go to. There's 2 in our town that are basically right across the street from each other, and I only drop into those stores if I know a loss leader that I really want to get. There's 1 or 2 particular things that I'm just going to go in, grab, and head back to the car. And then I do the bulk of our shopping at Winco. And Winco's not nationwide. Some areas of the country have Aldi. We don't have Aldi here. But Winco, Aldi, those are both kind of those lower price sort of stores. They don't feel as polished, so to speak, but there's great savings when you buy your groceries there. Now, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, we have a baby and a toddler. I do not bring the baby and toddler grocery shopping with me. If you're a mom, you know the idea of getting your kids in and out of the car seats, in and out of the store, one store is just a whole ordeal in itself. If I had the kids with me, we would be doing grocery pickup. I would not even be taking them into the store with me. We're just not at that place. The way we work it is I shop in the evening time after dinner. My husband is home from work and he is with the kids and gets them ready for bed and puts them to bed and everything while I'm out grocery shopping. It's a double win. I am able to have some alone time out grocery shopping by myself, and I am also able to make those couple of extra swings by those stores that I would not do if I had children with me. And just a quick note for new moms out there, if you are watching this and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I just feel overwhelmed, like the thought of grocery shopping. If you're dealing with a newborn, I get it. When we had a newborn and a baby slash toddler, they're pretty close together in age. We did grocery pickup every single time we did grocery pickup. And that worked great for us in that season. We knew it was a little bit more expensive. We didn't get to compare prices or, swing by a couple different stores, but it was worth it to us, and I have no regrets. So if you're a mom that's in that season, don't feel like you have to do all this. Do what works for you to help you keep your sanity and get your sleep and your rest. That's definitely what I did in that season. Tip number 7 is to grab markdowns. So often we are just cruising the aisles, grabbing what we need, and sometimes we'll compare prices with different items, or we'll buy the private label item. That's another tip right there. Grab stuff that is private label, meaning it's the store's label and not a national label that you would recognize, because oftentimes, not all the time, but oftentimes it is the exact same product, just in different packaging, and it's cheaper. So that's definitely worth it. But I am talking about markdowns. In the meat department, often there will be a little section in the meat department where you can find meat that is short coated, and you can just grab it for a reduced price, take it home, throw it in the freezer, and you're good to go. I find markdown bread sometimes. I find all kinds of different things, honestly, where if you're just looking and you just can take a little time to search, you can find markdown items. Again, it may seem like a small savings, but when these things add up, it can really make a big difference. Tip number 8 is to buy in bulk. At Winco, I always buy our spices in bulk, and then I just refill the containers that we have at home, and that has worked great and has saved us a lot of money there. You can also do that with all kinds of things. You can do it with your baking stuff, you can do it with pastas, you can do it with grains, all sorts of things. It is worth it. Winco has a fabulous bulk section. If you do have any food allergies in your family, sometimes you need to be aware of cross-contamination with those kind of bulk departments, but by and large, that is a great place to save money if you can buy in bulk. Obviously, if you have a Costco near you, there are some things that it is well worth buying in bulk at Costco, but even if you don't, you can look for that bulk food section at the store that you shop at and buy some things in bulk and see some savings there. Tip number 9, this is my last tip, and this is one that might get you laughing, but it is to grow some of your own food. In this particular tip, it's not gonna save you time, but it can save you money. Now, big caveat, gardens will not always save you money. Sometimes you can go really crazy with a garden and you end up spending a ton, and way more than you would at the grocery store. But I know for us, we have planted one in the last couple years as well. And so a lot of the stuff of amending the soil and buying some different supplies and things, we already had those things. The produce that we're growing is organic. So I'll be honest with you, when I'm just grocery shopping and I'm doing the produce department of the grocery store, I don't often buy organic. If I can, I do, but I don't often just because of the price difference. But when you're growing your own garden, you can grow your stuff organic, and that could be cheaper for you. Again, I say could because it depends on how you grow your garden, what you grow, and all that kind of stuff. It could end up being more expensive. But for us this year, I know it's going to end up being a bit cheaper. Start small. Don't feel like you have to do this big master garden with all this fancy stuff. Just plant what you're going to eat, and then you can process what you don't eat. You can can it. I'm not a canner. Again, I'm not trying to pretend to be something that I'm not. I'm not a gourmet chef. I don't can, but I do freeze stuff. We have a ton of green beans this year, and yeah, we're eating a lot fresh, but we're also freezing a bunch. And then that stuff I'm just gonna pull out of the freezer and use in future meals into the fall and winter. So all of that to say, growing a garden can be pretty easy, and I know not everyone has space to grow a garden, but you could even do some containers or pots if you wanted to do that. That can really give you some savings on the food front and maybe help you eat a few more vegetables as well. So I think that's it for today. Don't let anyone tell you that you are missing out on all the good deals by not clipping coupons. There are lots of ways to save, and I'm sure there's ways that I did not mention. If you have favorite ways that you love to save money at the grocery store without using coupons, go ahead and throw that in the comments below. I would love to get some of those ideas, and I'm sure other people would as well. but it is so doable, and you can use any or all of these tips to see a big savings on your grocery bill. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment below. That engagement really helps this channel start growing, and it means a ton to me. I hope that this video has been helpful. I hope it's encouraging to you. That is definitely my heart in making these videos, and I'm making videos regularly on this channel about decluttering, organizing, and creating beauty in your home on a budget, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.